didn't hold back when breaking down the upcoming showdown between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. He dropped a bombshell prediction: Eubank Jr.'s success will depend on his lightning-fast hands and the ability to control the distance, counterpunching with precision. Eubank Jr. is at his best when he's given room to move, where his skills shine like never before. On the other hand, Benn is ready to bring the heat. He'll look to close the gap quickly, suffocating Eubank Jr.'s movement and forcing him into a battle he doesn't want. The reality is, Benn's strategy is all about disrupting Eubank Jr.'s flow, making it nearly impossible for him to land his shots with the same efficiency. The question now is, can Eubank Jr. maintain his distance and execute his strategy, or will Benn's relentless pressure break through and change the course of the fight? This one is set to shake up the boxing world.
You know, wants to probably keep it on the outside as much as he can and use his skill sets to, use his hand speed and his ability to throw counter punches and, punches from different angles. He needs space, or space accommodates him pretty well and favors him pretty well when he has that space to do that. And I would think that Ben would like to take that space away, like to kind of work his way in and maybe go to the body like a better BF with a Bevo, take the legs away,
Jr.'s ability to control the distance when focused, emphasizing his sharp boxing skills with the right mindset. He also admired Ben's blend of aggression and disciplined defense, noting how the contrast in their fighting styles adds a fascinating dynamic to the matchup. The clash of these approaches promises an exciting, unpredictable fight.
So, where, being aggressive in a responsible way, in a way a fighter should be, with paying attention to, doing it with defense and responsibility of defense and, just proper way to engage somebody, but the consistent offense looking to, to engage.
His knockout loss to Liam Smith. While he acknowledged Eubank's toughness and size, McGuigan believed Ben's speed and power would give him the edge in this matchup. He argued that Ben hits harder than Smith, which could be a crucial factor in exploiting any weaknesses in Eubank's defense. McGuigan also emphasized that Ben's ability to close the distance and land explosive shots would put Eubank under pressure, making it difficult for him to control the pace and distance of the fight.
He was never cracked before, and it's a summary for me. He had a great chin up to then, and then he was knocked out, and it's never quite the same again. I think Ben is a more explosive fighter than Liam Smith. He's faster. He punches hard, but then, a good big one will always beat a good little one, all those cliches. But I just think I would give Ben the edge. But
Eubank Jr. has never been bigger, especially after Ben's drug test controversy. He expects Ben to come out aggressive early, driven by frustration, but believes Eubank's experience against tougher opponents will give him the edge. Despite Eubank's age and knockout loss to Liam Smith, Davies predicts Eubank will win on points. He argues Eubank's ability to withstand pressure, combined with his superior ring craft, will help him navigate through Ben's early onslaught and ultimately secure a decision victory in what promises to be an intense and high-stakes battle.
3 times bigger than it was before the 2 positive clomiphene tests. Ben's dangerous early in that fight, in my view, because he's coming with all that stinging venom and kind of pent-up aggression that he's developed over the last 2.5 years. But I think Eubank's fought the better level of opponents, even though he's aged 2.5 years and he's been knocked out by
Fights build up, with Nigel Benn and Eubank Sr. adding emotional drama to the rivalry. He highlighted the fight's significance in British boxing history, making it a must-watch, especially for those who witnessed the original Benn versus Eubank battles. The clash between the sons of these legendary figures has reignited old passions and created a captivating story, further fueling anticipation. According to Davies, the legacy of these iconic fighters only heightens the stakes, promising an unforgettable spectacle for boxing fans old and new. This fight is set to be a historic moment in the sport.
Nigel and Conor are both emotional, and Chris both play the villain, don't they?
Okay.
Even though I think in this one, Eubank Jr. is going to be able to sit back a little bit. Yeah, some people are saying that they don't think the fight means anything, but I think the bloodline in British sport.
Any man in the UK who's watched the dad's fight.
Ben versus Eubank Jr. matchup, calling it an evenly balanced contest between top fighters. He dismissed claims of a mismatch, emphasizing the legendary feud between their fathers and pointing out that the rivalry between the sons has now become the most heated in British boxing. Hearn believes that the personal history between the families adds a unique layer of intensity to the fight, making it more than just a clash of athletes. It's a battle of legacies. This makes the bout not just exciting, but also significant in the context of British boxing history.
It's a really good fight. It's a 50-50 fight between two guys that are world ranked in their division. I mean, he's making out like neither of them have ever boxed before. They're both used to this. It's a mismatch. It's not. It's a 50-50 fight between two world ranked fighters who, by the way, fathers happen to be Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, who had the biggest rivalry ever in British boxing, and, by the way, whose sons now have, by far, the biggest rivalry in British boxing.
Youth and boundless energy as key advantages. He believes Ben's stamina and hunger to prove himself in the ring will be crucial factors in securing the win. Meanwhile, Jones acknowledged Eubank's resilience after his brutal knockout loss to Liam Smith, noting that Eubank managed to bounce back and eventually defeat Smith in their rematch. This speaks to Eubank's ability to recover and fight through adversity. Despite this, Jones remains firm in his belief that Ben's youth will be the decisive factor.
Conor Benn's going to win. Too young, too fresh, and although, listen, Eubank, it took a lot for him to come back after getting viciously knocked out by Liam Smith, to come back and beat Liam Smith.
Sam Jones believes that the timing of the fight is perfect for Conor Benn, and he confidently favors him to win. While acknowledging Eubank Jr.'s impressive skill and potential, Jones feels that Eubank could have been a much bigger star with the right promotion and backing. Despite praising Eubank's personality and his appeal in the sport, Jones predicts that Benn will rise to the occasion and deliver a knockout victory. He feels that Benn's hunger, youth, and timing will ultimately overpower Eubank Jr., making the fight an unforgettable showdown with Benn securing the win.
And at the right time for Conor Benn. I think the fight's happening at the right time, and I favour Conor Benn in the fight.
Yeah.
I think Eubank Jr. is good for boxing. Genuinely, I think Chris Jr. is good for boxing. I think that if he was promoted by a Frank Warren or an Eddie Hearn back in the day when he turned pro, he would be an even bigger star than what he is now because of how he is. He's funny, like he's quite funny, isn't he, Eubank Jr.? He speaks well. But yeah, I think he's good for boxing, but I just think Conor Benn's going to chin him.
Conor Benn faces a tough challenge against Eubank Jr., but suggested that Benn's best chance at an upset could lie in landing a well-timed left hook. However, Jones also pointed out that if Benn fails to hurt Eubank early on, the fight would likely shift in Eubank's favor. He highlighted Eubank's significant improvements, noting that the year of training together had sharpened his skills, making him a more dangerous opponent. The contrast between Benn's aggression and Eubank's refined technique could define the outcome, with Eubank's experience giving him the edge.
Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything, but to me, his best chances are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like, even the stuff he's doing now, he's going to continue to get better, but I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's going to be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull off the upset at one time, so I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's going to be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's going to be a great fight.
You know what, a lot of people are talking about, Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but I don't really think Chris was big on rehydrating anyway, so I don't think he's going to get that big, you know what I mean? He might, but I don't think £10 bothers him at all.
Fast forward for another light heavyweight contest going Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol.
Recognized Conor Benn's strong will, especially after his surprising defeat to Liam Smith, which could serve as motivation. However, he also pointed out Eubank Jr.'s size and significant progress over the years, making him the likely favorite. While he praised both fighters for their unique strengths, Jones emphasized that Eubank Jr.'s physical edge, his size, reach, and strength would likely give him the advantage in a fight that could go the distance. Benn's determination could push him hard, but it would be Eubank's all-around abilities and improvements that could ultimately decide the outcome.
It's gonna be hard to beat anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset at one time, so I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's gonna be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantage because he's bigger, but it's gonna be a great fight.
The outcome. Both fighters bring unique strengths and challenges to the table, making this an explosive showdown. Eubank Jr.'s experience and size against Ben's speed and hunger for redemption will create a